Hey you guys, welcome. It's been a long time since I made a video, but it's time. It's that time of year. Actually, it's a month after that time of year when I kind of do my birthday update and kind of talk about the previous year and what I want to do into going to my next year of life. So this is going to be talking about my year 36 and going to the year 37. It's a month late, but better late than never. And my hair is looking kind of, I don't know, I don't really like it. My usual stylist didn't do it, and so, but whatever, it's done. So anyway, I actually just watched my video, last year's video, and so going into the year 36, I wanted to give up having expectations. Like I was tired of having these big expectations just to kind of have them dashed in the ground. Living more in the now, so living more in the moment, walking in faith / humility, because that month I had just had to ask my parents to borrow money to pay the rest of my rent. I had the bulk of it, but I needed like an extra, I don't know how much money to pay the rest. I talked about how year 36, I wanted to work on letting go of knowing how things will work out or just believing that they will. And then I wanted to really work on becoming more financially stable, like scaling up. So the next month, which would have been July of 2021, I was full-time doing my personal shopping, self-employed type of gig. And it was fine. I liked it. The flexibility of time, able to choose my own schedule. I didn't have a boss per se. Well, I didn't have a boss, but I did have clients, right? So people that I was shopping for. I had to call and check with them, make sure that, this is what they wanted. If they didn't have what they wanted, let them know I was on the way and all that other jazz. So, yeah. The downside of that was I worked a lot of hours. While I had flexibility, the money was not plentiful. I had to work a lot of hours, sometimes 10 to 12 hour days, just to kind of scrape up enough money to pay the bills. But my bills got paid, so that was definitely a blessing. But it definitely taught me just, having to work for every single penny that I was earning, more like physical labor, and that was, it kind of started to take its toll a little bit. So August, I sat down and I was really thinking about, look, this is not going to be sustainable, right? It's not even the lifestyle that I wanted. I wanted flexibility of my time. I wanted control of my time. I didn't want to have a boss, but I also wanted to be able to spend time with my kids. And I was working so many hours a day granted, now I will say that I was splitting it up. So I would go out early in the morning, and then midday I'd come home, hang out with my kids, do whatever at home, and then I'd go out in the evening, and then I'd come back and spend some time with my kids. So I was spending some time with them, not nearly as much as I wanted to, and so that I was starting to get on this isn't what I wanted. So I did some research, and I had a re-spark of interest, and that is in web development. And it just so happened me being interested in web development wasn't new. Back into I've been doing my own little websites and stuff for years, specifically on WordPress. And then even further back, I don't know if anyone is Black Planet, MySpace era, but I was building websites, web pages for friends and family, and getting paid to do that. And so, I'm pretty sure it's still recording. I was making web pages and for friends on Black Planet and MySpace, so I was actually kind of starting to do my coding there. So that interest got reinvigorated when I was just looking at, I kind of had given up somewhat on the idea that I was going to be able to start a business. Maybe not now, maybe it's a not now for me, or maybe it's just, it's okay to being a business owner just isn't your thing. So I found out, so a lot of people nowadays, when they start their coding careers, they go to coding bootcamps. Coding bootcamps are extremely expensive, and they're very demanding of time, because a lot of them, you have to kind of stop other parts of your life to just focus on coding. And for me, being a single mom, sole provider, I just couldn't do that. I couldn't not work. and just go to a boot camp. So I did some research, and I actually found out that at that time last year, I don't know if it's still going on, I was able to use my post 9/11 GI Bill to pay for a coding boot camp. And I found a completely online, kind of self-paced coding boot camp. Like, I didn't want to be sitting in front of my computer all day, in a class type of situation, because I kind of see my kids go through that. And I'm like, I kind of did that at my previous job, where literally I was in Zoom calls for hours, and I was just like, I didn't want to do that. And so I found a coding boot camp that accepted the GI Bill, which means that not only was all of my school going to get paid for, but I was also going to receive a housing stipend, along with, I think, an extra, like, this little stipend that they give you when you signed up for the GI Bill at a certain time. And so that's what I did. The downside of it kind of was the school was based in Utah, and the BAH, the basic housing allowance, is based off of where the school is and not where you live. And so I did not get nearly as much as I wanted to get, or because I live in such an expensive area. So that kind of was a bummer, but it ended up working out good. So from August until January, I was using my GI Bill. I was still doing my personal shopping job. I still had the National Guard, which I'm still in, my 1 week in a month. So I had my personal shopping gig, I had the National Guard, and I had the housing stipend that I was getting each month, which really did allow me to spend a lot of time studying. And so that was a big thing for me. Year 36 is I rediscovered my my interest in web development and coding. So in this coding bootcamp, I was learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React, MongoDB, and something else. I don't remember. So yeah, I spent a lot of time doing that. Come January, I honestly was not finished the coding bootcamp, but I was determined that I really wanted to, and I didn't want to just like stop. So I ended up taking out a loan from one of my personal accounts, and it was able to cover the next 4 months of my rent. Now, I still had to do my personal shopping in order to cover my bills, but my bills were actually relatively low. So I had paid off my car year 36, 2021, which was amazing. I love not having a car note. What? I paid off a credit card. I mean, I did really good on paying things off. We'll talk about other stuff as it progresses. My family and I went to Disney World. My kids, for the first time, went to Disney World, so that was fun. We went to Florida, and they got to spend Christmas with their dad. This is also our second year homeschooling, and so we did, it's still not perfected yet, but we're still learning, and we're still understanding how we want to homeschool. And so, yeah, so like doing the from like February until May, literally, I was still coding. By that time, I had kind of figured out what specific platform I wanted to use to learn on. So, and it was WordPress. And so now I've really been heavy into learning WordPress development, PHP, and yeah, unfortunately, everything that I paid off, my car completely broke down in May, which means I had to get another car, which means now I have another car payment. But I'm grateful because I don't really know how I was able to, because I didn't necessarily have a job at that time, I didn't lie. I said that I was collecting, like I'd already paid my rent for up until that point. So whatever happened, my car died on like a Saturday, and I had a new car that Monday. It is not the car that I wanted, but I didn't really have any expectations for a car because I didn't expect my car to break down. But I'm getting used to my car now. I've had it since like May, so like May, June, July. It's like 2 months. And unfortunately, I was kind of living off of my credit cards because I still had other things that were coming on. So now I have a relatively large credit card bill that I'm going to have to be paying down. And what else? Yeah, so long story short, year 36 was still a year of discovery, like every year should be. I rediscovered web development, which I'm still very much interested in. And I was able to live, we were living pretty comfortably on a very fixed income but we made it work. I don't think my kids ever just felt like we were just destitute and desperate. But you know, I also rediscovered roller skating, so I got back into roller skating. So it was a lot of good things happened in year 36. A lot of rough nights though, because money just wasn't flowing like I wanted to. And so coming to the end of year 36, which was May of this year, 2022, a lot happened. I was coming to the end of the time that I had paid my rent, so I was like kind of freaking out because I needed a job. I started applying for a lot of junior web developer positions. I got some callbacks, some didn't come back because I really didn't have experience, but I was still like, hey, you know, you never know. So towards the middle of the month, I was on Facebook and I saw an opening for a website specialist job, completely remote. So I applied for that. I took the test, and by the grace of God, I got that. So I am currently a belay website specialist. I also was on Facebook and I saw a posting for a junior level WordPress developer. I applied for that, did an interview. They liked me, so now I am a junior. It's an internship though, so an internship for a company where I'm doing WordPress development. Neither one of those, I would say, were very big money makers. I still would have had to do Shipt in order to do them, but I was excited that I would at least have dipping my toes in the web development world. Lastly, I had really had to swallow a big pill of, I don't really know how to say it, like reality, I guess. I don't know. Nothing was really coming in the web development world remote, specifically because I wanted to work remote, in the remote world or the web development world, that was really going to give me kind of the financial, I'm not going to say stability, but just the finances that I wanted. And so I put myself back out there to go back on orders with the National Guard. And I ended up interviewing for a position as a program manager for one of the programs within the National Guard, web applications within the National Guard, and I did get it. I got it. And so, yeah, end of May, I was like, okay, I have 2 web development part-time positions, and now I have a full-time program manager job. Great. June comes, what did I do? I was on annual training, doing my 2 weeks for my National Guard, and I was doing good. I was starting to work out again. I was getting in the habit of getting up to an alarm. I had not been getting up to an alarm for like the past year and a half. So getting up to an alarm, having to report at a certain time, and realizing it wasn't nearly as horrible as I remembered it to be, to kind of have a supervisor. And things were going great. I was good to go. My packet was moving through the necessary channels to allow me to go back to my full-time job as a program manager. And then I fractured my foot the last couple of days of our annual training. And unfortunately, that meant that I could not go to do my job at the national level of the National Guard, because they're temporary. I was on temporary profile, and they don't allow soldiers to come on those type of orders with a temporary profile. And if you don't understand, I'm just basically, everything seemed like they were set, like everything was coming together at the end of May, and by the end of June, a lot of it fell apart. A big part of it fell apart. So now I didn't have a full-time job. My foot is fractured, so I can't go and do my personal shopping that I was doing. And I spent about a week freaking out because I was like, what am I going to do? But yeah, thankfully things are working out. I'm gonna talk more about those later. This is more about my 36th year, and that's going more into the start of my 37th year. But in retrospect, I think it was a pretty good year. I did let go of, it was really, I was learning to let go of expectations, because as I was going through my coding bootcamp, I expected to finish this. I expected to do that. But boy, learning how to code is, it's a monster. And you think that you know what you're doing, and then you hit enter, or you refresh the page, and what you expected to happen did not happen. And so you have to go back and you have to look and you have to search and you have to figure out. And so I think if my year 36 was about letting go of expectations, I got punched in the face with that, because I really had to let go of expectations. And sometimes I had to walk away from unfinished projects because I couldn't mentally work it anymore. As far as the humility, I definitely had to learning more of that, even more, because while I did have the funds to do different things, I actually had to apply for, I didn't have to, but I chose to apply for food stamps so that me and my children could, have food without me stressing out. And so again, a lot of humility and a lot of walking on faith, but God is good. He brought us through that year, and I'm excited to see what year 37 has. Like I said, I have those 2 opportunities of web development. I have another opportunity to go back on some type of active duty orders with the National Guard. Not in the way that I anticipated or wanted to, but in a way that could possibly be a good move for me and my family. So anyway, I know this was kind of like, it wasn't as like lighthearted as my other ones because a lot happened this year, but yeah. And then one other thing, I think I've actually have really not given up. And okay, so another thing, so for year 37, and I've already said this several times to myself, it's more like I'm not giving up on my dreams of remote work and, kind of doing my own thing as far as a business and for money, but I am giving it to God. Like, I'm no longer holding it so tight to my chest that if things don't go that way, I am down and depressed. It's more like I'm giving it to God. And Tim Keller, I've been really on this gentleman named Tim Keller, and he has an amazing podcast called Your Plans, God's Plans. And towards the end of it, he says our ultimate place when it comes to our hopes and our dreams should not be to hold them so tightly. It should not just be to just give up on them, but it's literally to give them to God. And I'm constantly reminding myself, like, Lord, what you will, when you will, how you will. Like, I'm giving them to him because I have to make the plans. I have to, because physically I would be the one doing it. But ultimately, he has the ultimate say so. And so that's year 37. It's going to be really about still letting go of expectations, but at the same time being in anticipation of what God is going to do. And believing that even if it doesn't look good on my end, that God is still good and that he doesn't keep good things from us, but ultimately it will all work out for our good and his glory. So yeah, that's where I am. I'm sorry, this is probably like dragged on, but anyway, I hope that, someone gets something out of this. If not, then I will check it out again next year. And yeah, hopefully there will be some growth there. Alrighty. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you either in the next video or next year. Bye.